inspector visited your restaurant lately? And what did he find when he was there? The inspector is a very curious fellow. He concerns himself mostly with dirt and clutter and all the other things that could destroy the appearance of a restaurant. Well, you know, the inspector has a very interesting approach in examining a restaurant. He looks at it from the customer's point of view. He asks himself this question: what makes me decide to go into a restaurant that I've never been in before and know nothing about? He knows there's only one good answer to that question. It's appearance. The decision to go in or go on by is based solely on the first impression a person has when he sees a restaurant. He knows nothing about the quality of the food or the service. The appearance, however, does give him some indication about those things. The cleanliness tells him how much the employees and management care about their place of business. On the other hand, what about the restaurants that a person is familiar with? What makes him want to go back to them? In the first place, he knows a little more about them. He knows how good the food and service are, and he knows how clean they are. That's right, how clean they are. And 9 times out of 10, the cleanliness will be a major factor in his decision to return. Let's take a close look at the things that form a customer's first and oftentimes lasting impression of your restaurant. Let's look at it as the inspector would, strictly from the customer's point of view. Okay, where shall we start? The building exterior? Well, the inspector wouldn't start there. No, he'd start across the street. Well, that's so he can get the overall picture, as the customer would first see it. Uh-oh, look at that. Papers in the shrubs. Well, it may be a small thing, but those small things add up. Now look at your neighbor's yard. What's that? You don't think your neighbor's yard is your concern? Well, you better take a closer look at your neighbor's trash. Just as the inspector suspected. That's trash from your lot. A careless customer dropped something on the ground and the wind did the rest. You know, your neighbors are potential customers too. And even though your lot might be spotless, a cluttered surrounding area, whether it's trash from your lot or not, makes you look bad. Now, what about your parking lot? At first glance, it looks clean enough. But what's this the inspector has found? The pavement is starting to wear. Well, this could lead to a rather expensive repair bill. The modern detergent oils, transmission fluids, and power steering hydraulic fluids leak onto the pavement and eat it away. A little preventive maintenance, such as placing a small amount of absorbent compound on the heavily accumulated areas, will make your pavement last much longer, as well as look much better. What about your landscaping? Is the grass well trimmed and free of weeds? Are the shrubbery and plants in good shape and free of litter? This area can really enhance the appearance of a restaurant as long as it's kept up. But if you forget it just a short period of time, it will sure make you look bad. But one of the first things a customer sees is your sign. And by the way, the inspector is very particular about this. Of course, he's just a little partial to the sign of the big boy. He likes it to be in good shape. He likes all the lights to be working. A bad-looking sign can give your entire shop a black eye. Your exterior trash cans are very important. Do yours look like this? Or do they look like this? An unkempt trash can not only looks bad, but smells bad. It attracts flies and other pests, while it drives your customers away. Let's go inside and see what the customer might find. Uh-oh, look at that door. Fingerprints and smudges. And those door frames all stained and tarnished. Not a very good first impression, and the customer's not even inside yet. A little window cleaner and the proper metal polish could make quite a difference. Take a look at your mat. A lot of dirt can collect here if it's not cleaned regularly. Your mat should be checked for its condition regularly also. A turned-up corner or a tear can be an awful safety hazard. Well, a very attractive hostess. And friendly, too. Well, that certainly helps in the customer impression department. And the waiting area is nice and tidy. I don't think the inspector would mind waiting here a few minutes for a table. But watch out, Inspector. Don't step on that gum. There are a lot of things, like this gum, for example, that you've got to keep a constant lookout for. A good cleanup in the evening is a necessity, but cleanliness is dependent upon constant observation by everyone. That gum, this little piece of paper, the mop strings around the chair base, these are the little things that can make an otherwise clean restaurant look dirty. These little things don't take that much effort to correct. And what does the customer see as he goes to the dining room? Can he see into the kitchen area? If so, will he see neatly uniformed employees going about their daily tasks quietly and quickly? Or will he be greeted by chaos and confusion? There's a lot more to building a good first impression than cleanliness of the building and equipment. The cleanliness and general appearance of all employees, whether they work in the back or the front of the house, presents a composite of your restaurant to the customer. Let's take a look at the dining room. The tables look clean and neatly arranged, and that waitress there seems to be doing a good job of cleaning her tables. The condiment bottles have all been wiped clean and moved to one side so she can clean under them. And don't forget to look up. Vents, if not cleaned regularly, can become very unsightly. Dust that accumulates around vents can fall into food, and that will really spoil a first impression. And what about the seats? Did the waitress or busman wipe them off after the last customer left? The inspector knows how to look for impression killers. He sits down where the customers sit. Usually, we're walking or standing when in the dining room. The customer, on the other hand, is about 3 feet lower than we usually are, so he usually sees a whole world that we don't. And what a world. Look at that fork and those papers and napkins under the counter, not to mention the dirt and stain buildup. It's very easy to sweep and mop an area and miss under equipment and counters, but the customer won't miss it. Neither will insects and rodents. So take a look at things from the customer's point of view. In fact, get down on your hands and knees and look around. Who knows, you might get some pretty short customers now and then. While you're looking at things from the customer's position, take a look at the chair and stool bases. Have they been cleaned lately? What happens when the customer gets his meal? The food looks great, but what about the china it's served on? Is it chipped or stained? Has the silver got water spots on it? And that glass? It might be as clean as it can possibly be, but those scratches make it look dirty. Maybe you should check your dishwashing equipment and procedures. Using the proper racks could keep your glasses from getting in this shape. The use of the proper temperatures and washing solutions could help you eliminate water spots. What about the customer that sits at the counter? The pie racks look nice. The displays are very attractive. Good-looking display cases not only give a good appearance, they could help build your sales. Let's sit down now at the end of the counter and see what we can find. Yuck. Is some customer going to have to eat his meal with that staring him in the face? And look how cluttered and messy things look behind the counter. Just because it's behind the counter doesn't mean the customer can't see it. It all adds up. Let's just walk around and take a look at some of the more prominent areas. The floor. Ah, that's a good one. And one of the inspector's favorite areas. Floors should be checked regularly for condition as well as cleanliness. In addition to leaving a bad impression when dirty, they can be quite a safety hazard when left in poor repair. This couldn't be your restaurant now, could it? The beverage and supply stands are always prime candidates for clutter, and they're so obvious to the customer. Another favorite area for clutter and dirt, and one that really irritates customers, is the public restrooms. This area must be checked and serviced regularly. There's nothing worse than having to wash your hands in a dirty sink, and then come to find there are no paper towels left. When this happens, you might as well say goodbye to a customer. It'll be a long time before you'll see him again. The last thing a customer does before he leaves is pay his check. And this is our last chance to either impress him or run him off. Is the cashier pleasant in appearance and manner? Is her station neat and tidy? If there is merchandise for sale at her station, is it pleasantly displayed? After all, you could make another sale here. The cashier's area needs more consideration than most people think. It's here that the customer says goodbye to some hard-earned cash. We ought to at least make it a pleasant experience for him. This is also the last personal contact we have with a customer. Let's make him feel welcomed so he'll want to come back. So he'll want to tell his friends about the nice, clean restaurant where he had an excellent meal. Well, we've kept the inspector away from his post long enough, so let's get him back where he belongs, out front, greeting the customers. But let's not forget what he's taught us. Look at your restaurant from the customer's point of view. Go where the customer goes. Sit where the customer sits. You might be surprised about what you find. You might find things that we haven't mentioned. But the inspector will guarantee you that you won't overlook the things that count to the people that count when you look at things from the customer's point of view.